old woman. It's different from the other wise old woman that you just heard about. This one comes from the country of Japan. What country?
Japan.
Thank you. She lived at the base of Mount Fuji. She had long, black, silky hair, and her eyes sparkled when you looked at them. And her face was round in such a way that when you looked at her, you felt kind of at home right away. She spent most of her time worshiping a god of her own creation. And she made potions, and she made medicines for the people in the village. You see, because in addition to being a wise old woman and helping counsel people with their challenges in their life, she also was a great healer. And she was known for hundreds of miles around and had a great reputation for helping people. Well, you can imagine that some people wanted to maybe toy with her reputation a little bit. And in this case, there were two boys in particular, and they had a sinister plan. And I'm going to tell you that sinister plan one day, and you'll decide how sinister it really was. Well, they had talked for months about what they could do to bring her down and to ruin her reputation for all time. They thought that would be interesting play. Do you think that would be interesting play? No, not really, huh? I know, but this is what they like to do. So they thought about it. They were walking on their way to school one day, and well, they saw this little nest over there, and they saw these little newborn chicks, and some were still in the eggs and hadn't hatched yet. Well, it was as if they looked at each other and got the same idea, the same sinister idea, at the same moment. Well, one went over and he said, I know exactly what we're going to do now. And he picked up one of the little birds in his hand, and he said, well, look, here's what we're going to do. Today after school, we're going to go and we're going to walk up that mountain to the foothills, and we're going to go to the wise old woman's house. And we're going to say to her, wise old woman, if you're so wise, we're going to cover this up and we'll say, is the bird in our hand dead or is it alive? Well, if she says it's dead, we'll just open our hand. And she will be wrong. And we will be right. And her reputation will be gone for all time. And his friend looks at him and says, well, what if she says it's alive? You can't just open your hand and you have this alive bird. Well, okay, he says. Well, okay, what we'll do then, we'll just crush it. We'll just crush it. And then we'll open our hand. And the bird will be dead, and she will be wrong. And so they put the little bird back. They shivered with excitement all day long at the possibility of going to the wise old woman's home. After school, they met. They went and they gathered up the little bird. And they walked and walked and walked into the foothills. And the clouds were coming in. And they went down this long driveway past all the willows and shrubs they didn't recognize much of. But they were looking forward to watching their plan work, because it was a flawless plan, right? A flawless plan. They were going to get her. Well, they went up to the door. They had the bird, and so they waited. Okay. And a wise old woman opened the door. She looked into their eyes. She looked them up and down and simply said, how may I serve you, gentlemen? And they stood and looked at her and said, well, wise old woman, if you're so wise, Is the bird in our hand, is it alive or is it dead? And she looked at each one very carefully. And she looked at their toes and to their head. And she said simply, the answer to your question lies in your hands. And with that, the boys ran and ran and ran home and took the bird with them, and they put it right back in the nest, and they went home to do their homework and to honor their parents and to maybe grow to be wise old men themselves.